Hey guys, Todd James back again. Once again, shooting a quick video here before I leave for China. I've had questions over the last few weeks. I've had a lot of things come up from my students here at the beginning of fourth quarter because fourth quarter is exciting and everyone's trying to get it right. I've made some other videos. Please check out my channel for other videos released here in the first weeks of October, because I think you're going to find some timely information. But I wanted to do one more video and to explain a little bit more about what's going on with the second trip in a year to China. And what's happening in Word is branding. In the past, I've shot videos about branding. A lot of people act like it's, an essential element of doing business on Amazon, and I'm living proof that's not the case, and probably 99% of other people that do business on Amazon are living proof that branding is not essential. I have no problem selling generic items without any identifiable brand. As long as those items are of decent quality and represent good value for my consumers, branding is unimportant to me, or at least has been in the past. But at this point, I've built my business up based on selling things of moderate expense. I'm not someone who sells a lot of cheap items. I don't sell a lot of super high-end items, but I do sell a lot of items that fall somewhere between $50 and, say, $400 or $450. As long as those items present good value, I feel like I can market that item and enter that marketplace from a position of strength. So, that's what I've done, and it's worked out real well. I've always tried to carry as few products as possible to achieve whatever sales goals I have at that point in time. And for a number of years, that limited me to 10, 12 products at any given time, maybe a couple of seasonal products thrown in here and there. But typically I was right around a dozen products on Amazon at any given time. Last year, late 2018, throughout this year so far, I have raised that quite a bit. I'm up into the low 20s now in terms of products. And, while there was some adjustment, I've figured out the workflow now. I've figured out, how to manage that number of products. It wasn't hard. It was just something, it was a mental hurdle I had to overcome. But now that I've got 20 plus products, I don't really anticipate going back to less than that. In fact, this year I'm looking to expand it quite a bit. But with that said, there are some problems that come with doing generic products, and that is that anyone can sell the same product that you're selling, and there's basically nothing you can do about it. So, we respond to that by getting involved in price wars. We respond to that by trying to bundle that product with another product to enhance the apparent value. And all of these things work, and all of these things are fun, at least they are to me. Over the last year or so, I have really just started thinking about, again, maybe building something that I can sell. I can sell my Amazon business. I have a couple of different kind of groups of products that I focus on, and I think I could easily break those off and sell them. I've looked at the possibility of selling them from a standpoint of just getting an estimate of what it might be worth, and I was pleased. I think I would offer real value. Somebody could come in and buy, the housewares group, if you will, and buy it for a reasonable price and have a business that's up and running, and for at least a number of years. If they didn't want to do anything except just restock, they should have a fairly successful business. But with that said, I was looking for something a little bit more secure, and that's where branding came in. I've been involved in branding in the past in a variety of other settings. I just haven't seen it as being a necessity for Amazon. And again, still, it's not a necessity. Don't panic. But in my case, I'm just looking for something to follow, a path to follow that will lead me hopefully to a different ending than what I've had in the past. And with that said, I am in the process of branding a new product. I have been developing for the last 6 months what will be a foundational product for a new brand. It will also be in a market space that I have not participated in before. So there are a lot of new things going on here. I've gone through the trademark process now. That's something I'll have a future video on because that was an interesting process. But in any case, going into the late first quarter of 2020, I will be launching a new brand. And with that in mind, I've had meetings over the last couple of weeks with 2 different consulting groups that deal with brand launches. And, I don't want it to sound, I don't know, I don't want it to sound wrong, but I've been doing this for a long time. I've been involved in business for a long time. And I really felt like I could map out my own brand launch. But with that said, based on the size of the investment I'm making, which initially will be in excess of $100,000 between all the expenses, the legal expenses, and actual buying the first batch of product, it's a significant investment. And to go out and spend a few $1,000s to get really world-class advice and have somebody look at what it is you're doing and maybe offer a few suggestions, that's money well spent. You call that insurance, if you will. One nugget of advice that saves me $20,000 or $30,000 pays for the consulting fees several times over. So with that said, I've met with 2 different groups, and to a large degree, I would say their recommendations and their strategies overlapped about 85-90%, and they were pretty much in line with what I was already mapping out for myself. But certainly there were some ideas that they gave me that were beneficial. They gave me a lot of information that's more current than what I had available to me in terms of what I'm going to call psychometrics. There is always research taking place into what makes a consumer buy one product versus another, and they had the most up-to-date information available, which has already guided me to some degree in terms of my labeling, my packaging, the colors that will represent my brand, things of that nature. A lot of the information they gave me will heavily influence any type of online advertising I do, just in terms of the layout of the ads, the wording in the ads, and that was really interesting. But one of the things I wanted to bring up, though, was 80% of the time I spent involved them questioning me as to the characteristics of my ideal customer. And if you go back into the early days of this channel, literally some of the first videos I made were talking about creating a customer avatar and identifying the characteristics of that particular customer. Gender, income, education levels, parental status, do they have kids or not, do they own animals or not, what kind of cars do they drive, so on and so forth. And I encouraged all of you watching in the previous videos to come up with 20 identifying and defining characteristics of who your perfect customer was, and use those insights into your perfect customer to then help you in your product selection for Amazon or for whatever marketplace you choose to engage in. And at the time I had people tell me that was fairly boring content, and I don't see it that way. I enjoy advertising probably more than any other aspect of doing business with Amazon or doing business online. I enjoy advertising. I enjoy the demographics and the slicing and dicing of this data to end up in a place where you have a nugget of information that you can monetize and that you can market to. So I just want to mention again, coming up with a customer avatar is really, really important. Here I am talking to these consultants paying hundreds of dollars an hour for their time, and they're asking me the same basic questions that I was asking you all to consider years ago when I started this channel. This is timeless. This is not old-fashioned. This is not something new. This is how you market to a consumer. You figure out who they are, what they want, and then you give them what they want. That is the fastest way to make money online. It may be boring to some of you. I hope it's not. But it's a process, though, that I've internalized. I do it without even thinking about it. When I'm reviewing Jungle Scout information or Viral Launch information, and I'm looking at all these different products, in my mind, there is a filter running that is defining who it is that's going to buy these products, and I'm asking myself, is this a market that I want to enter into? Is this a market that I know how to sell into? And it really is a foundational concept for anyone looking to do business online or offline. It doesn't matter if you're going to open a store on Main Street, USA, or if you're going to sell on Amazon and eBay. Knowing about your clients is knowledge that will give you power and will give you a certainty in what you're doing that you would not otherwise have. So I encourage you all to think about who your perfect customer is, to come up with those 20 defining characteristics, literally write it down, and then look at the world through this lens. Like, how can I sell to these people with these particular qualities or these particular habits? What's the best way to sell to them, and what do they want? What products or services are they looking for? I assure you that's the same process that every major brand out there is going through, and if it works for them, it will work for you, even if you're not a brand, even if you're just selling generic products online. Knowing who those products are intended for and how they will impact their lives and solve a problem or just make their lives easier in some way is vitally important information, and I encourage you all to think about that with every product that you select. But anyway, that is pretty much what I wanted to get across to you. I just want to share a little bit about my experience dealing with these consulting groups. Usually in the past, I've been on their side of the table. I've been the consultant offering the information, but this time I thought it was wise to get information from the best people in the business, and I'm glad I did. It wasn't cheap, but just the few things they told me that I wasn't really up on, I think will pay off, in multiples in the long run. So I appreciate their help, and I appreciate you all watching and listening to me talk about this. And I will tell you, just to give you an example, if my brand does what I want it to do next year, 2020, I'm hoping to see something in the neighborhood of $7 million in sales off of a brand that will have been started in the first quarter. I think in this case that branding is so powerful, I will be able to launch one product with a couple of follow-up products shortly thereafter that will result in a brand revenue, if you will, somewhere in the $7 million range in its initial year. That's not something I would be able to do with generic products on Amazon. I'll do additional videos about this as I move into the process of launching this brand. But I'll tell you that this brand will be available on Amazon as well as some other websites. It'll be available on Target and Walmart as well. And it may actually be available in some retail chains, brick and mortar chains. So this is a new venture. It's got me invigorated, and I'm excited about the opportunities, and I'm excited about the challenges. The number one thing about being an entrepreneur is that you will always have challenges. Your job is to make decisions and to choose between good, better, and best. If you're doing it right, you're going to be making those decisions every day. It's why you get the big money. So, I'm looking forward to this. There are a million little decisions that will be made between now and sometime in early 2020, and I'm looking forward to making every one of those. This is me forming something from nothing, and I hope it has just an amazing run next year and into the future. So, with that said, again, I appreciate you watching. Please hit like and subscribe. There's going to be a lot more information, a lot more content coming your way when I get back from China. I'll be gone for the remainder of October, but going into November and December, I have a lot of things I want to share with you, a lot of developments that have happened over the course of the year, and hit like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll be the first to see it, and I truly enjoy engaging with people. So don't hesitate to ask questions, leave comments. Always am interested in seeing what your experiences are like. Hopefully we learn from each other. And with that said, see you in the next video.